Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Warwick Homestead. This is an efficiency settlement build for Fallout 4. This settlement has been a big nuisance to me, and yet I've always been intrigued by it. I've always sort of liked it. I've liked the layout of it. I've liked how complicated it was, and yet I've just had such a hard time trying to get it just the way I want. So before I talk about all of the guard towers and all of that, I'll just show you the major lay of the land. So I've been doing some research recently on settlement happiness, and I've discovered that it takes 4 dogs to increase your settlement's happiness by 1%. And so I've got 4 dogs for this particular settlement, and that's going to be a thing that I do from now on. As I'm just going to look for 4 dogs, or try to get 4 dogs per settlement. I've got a mod that actually adds dog food to my dog bowls to make them look nice. And it's a soggy day today. I just installed a new mod called True Storms, which is supposed to give me more dynamic, realistic storms, and so far so good. And here's the main facility. This is the main place where people sleep. And here I have a cigarette station, complete with an ashtray and a cigarette sitting there. And over here I have a coffee station so that people can get their coffee in the morning. Now inside the primary structure, you see it's kind of a mess. And that's because I did not change very much at all. Most of the decorations are exactly the way that I found them. I think I added that, and then I think I added 1 or 2 pictures. That I did not add. That came with it. And so most of the decorations have already been done, and there isn't a lot of room to do any more decorating, so I just didn't decorate much more. It's got this concrete industrial feel, so it doesn't feel cozy. And as you can see, it's soaking wet in here, so it's leaky. The rain goes, I thought I had occlusion turned on, but it's not working very well in here for some reason. So I've just got sleeping bags all on the floor in here with some lights. And that's it for the primary residence area. I put a barrel fire here on top of there. And I put a barrel fire here by this seating area. So here's another seating area. At least this lady is smart enough to be sitting under the umbrellas. And it looks like I can't tell if the rain is falling through the umbrella and hitting the foot or not. I mean, I have a setting set so that rain shouldn't fall through objects, but anyway, I've got food set out here, a sweet roll and some blood bug on the tray, and then some noodles and some vegetables. Same over here, we've got a Mirelurk omelet with a variety of different foods, and a Deathclaw steak. This is my bar area. These are the only 2 bars that I have for this settlement, and I placed them together over in this corner because bars tend to attract unassigned settlers and the rest of the settlement during the day. Or, I'm sorry, during the morning and during the night, after the work hours. And so I put the seating areas right outside the bars so that people have a place to lounge. Here's the giant pumpkin that is there from a certain quest that I did. And here's the marketplace. Fairly standard and straightforward. I used the new concrete platforms that came with a Wasteland Workshop to elevate them so that they were on a nice flat surface. And I used the concrete instead of the wood, which I typically do. Not because it was cheaper, but because I felt it went better with the sort of industrial feel of this settlement. I mean, everything is made from concrete. And I wanted this to look like it fit right in. So I used the concrete steps, the concrete foundations, and I've got all of these shops whose sole purpose is just to increase happiness. And this is the default farm that came with the settlement. I haven't added any crops at all, I don't think. Because these are lined up pretty well, and I typically don't line up my huge fruit plants. Anyway, this produces exactly 36 food, which is exactly what I need. Okay, before I go into the rest of this facility, let me just go around underneath. I've only got 1 Brahmin, so I've got my Brahmin trough under here to keep him out of the way. I discovered this little shrine. It's a toy alien strapped to a rocket, and it says "Bye" with flowers on it. I didn't make this. This came Bethesda did this. This came with the settlement. And I thought it was just cool enough that I didn't want to remove it, so I left it there. Going around the corner again, they just loved having all sorts of secrets, so I found this as well. There's a teddy bear wearing an admiral hat, riding a giddy-up buttercup, wearing a Coast Guard hat, and then some wooden blocks that don't really say anything. It says V something. A toy car and a life preserver. And I thought that was cute, so I just left it there. Didn't make any changes. Okay, and then, you know, there's a lot of just spaces in between all of this, and I used to have a bunch of scrap stations in here, which I removed because I found that it was really hard for my settlers to weave in and out of them. They would constantly bump up against each other. Just the pathing in this game is horrible, so trying to remove as many obstacles as possible is good. Alright, so here's the secondary house, and in here I've got my terminal. I kept this nice lamp that came with it. I decided not to scrap it. And, you know, there's some posters on the wall. I've got a painting and then some more sleeping bags. Oh, and I put some candles and a lamp there to make it just slightly lived in. I didn't want it to lose its rustic feel, but I wanted it to look like slightly lived in. All right, so since we're here, let's turn on our spawn points. And while I'm here, I just want to see, yep, I got 14 unassigned settlers. Just double checking. Alright, so tour of the rest of the facility. Now here is where I had to use a lot of pretty clever strategy to get stuff to work. So typically, as you can see, when you get this settlement, there's just this broken causeway right in the middle of this huge vat of water. And I used these steps to create an archway over here. Now, believe it or not, I did all of this without using any mods. I didn't use any of my settlement movement mods. So those of you on consoles can place down a step here, get it just right, and then attach your bridges, your bridge shacks. All it took was one bridge shack to go across, or was it two? Oh, I think it was two. Yeah, two shack bridges. And then one more platform ladder to come back down. Now, the only thing I did use a mod for is these supports. Now, the game, I mean, the shack bridge doesn't need the supports. You can still make it, and it works fine without them. But I wanted it to look a little bit more stable, so I used a mod to put these support bracers in there, just so that it actually looks like it's stable. But it's not necessary, and so I put that down there. And then if you follow the rest of the catwalk, it leads you to this industrial-looking room. And I didn't really know what to do with it, so I put 4 scavenging stations inside. And my settlers scavenge. And then it leads out here to this platform where I built a step and a few little small, tiny floors to lead out over here. And then, of course, I've got my water purifiers in these big vats. I have 3 of them. Now, as you can see, my settlers are scrapping, but they've got pathing issues. So even though I fixed this hole, they won't walk over this. And, please let me by. And they won't walk over the bridge. So they'll come to here and then they'll stop and they'll turn around. So if you do put anything in here, like a scrap station that you can assign settlers to, once you fast travel away and fast travel back, they will be in this room, but they just won't ever leave it. So don't expect them to go buy from your shop. Don't expect them to ever go sleep in a bed unless you happen to fast travel into town when the entire settlement is asleep, in which case they will be asleep in their beds. They'll just have a hard time getting to their scrap stations. Okay, so we've marked the spawn locations for this settlement. And I'll show you where they're at. They're both right here. What an annoying place for spawn stations. They're right next to each other. So the nice thing about this settlement is you don't have to have defenses all over the place. All you have to do is put one defensive structure right here, and your bases are covered. I mean, look at my compass. There are no other spawn points for this entire settlement. There are just two. One right here in this corner, and one right here at the opening. Now, I'm really glad I used the mod for this, because when I was using my look for the guns trick to find the spawn locations, like here's a gun, so you can assume, oh, well, this is where they spawn. But I would never have guessed that there are actually two spawn locations here. I would have thought there was just one. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. In order to save horizontal space, because I didn't want to just completely block off this section with turrets, I built a tall turret tower where I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 different turrets. And I'm learning something right now. Okay, so this is an issue. Provisioner, go this way. This way. And he's giving up. Okay, bye-bye. Well, golly. I suppose I could move these guys over here. Yeah, just thinking out loud. Anyway, so I've got a nice tall tower with 1, 2, 3 different missile turrets, and then 2 heavy laser turrets, and no, it's 3 heavy laser turrets. 1, 2, 3 heavy laser turrets, 1, 2, 3 missile turrets, 1 spotlight, and 1 high-level ballistic machine gun turret. So that's it's decent defenses. It's not amazing, but it's over 111 defenses. And since they start attacking as soon as the enemies spawn, I think I'll be pretty good to go. Now, I used to have my Brahmin Trops over here, and it only took 1 attack from enemies to realize that the Brahmin get killed by the AoE damage from my missile turrets. Excuse me. So, I moved everything back behind this right here. Also, another thing, just in case you didn't know, you can scrap this fence. And if you do, you've got this little shack over here that you can work on. I believe you can... Yeah. So you could decorate this whole shack or put something in here if you wanted to. And you can remove that fence. So if you wanted to put like a terminal in here, you could wire it through this hole in the wall. I couldn't think of anything I really wanted to use that space for, as interesting as it sounded. So I just didn't do anything. But if you want, you can build something in that shack. Okay, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let me show you that. Here, first, let me put on my jetpack. So this is where I keep all my power. Oh man, I'm running out of AP. For some reason, with the jetpack, if you try to go vertically up, it consumes a lot more of your AP. But if you do a running forward sort of pulse, it lets you up. So I created this. Here, see, it's working. When I'm under here, there's no... Oh, wait, no, I lied. The rain's falling right through this thing. Gosh, I thought I turned the setting on that disabled that. See, now I don't see any rain. Oh, that's because it stopped raining. Never mind, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I built this elevated shack here. And inside this shack, I have all of my engines. And I made it extra long because I needed a lot of power to support all of those missile turrets. And then I actually needed more power, so I put 1 single wind turbine on top of this shack, and this generates all of the electricity that I need. And then from there, I just wire it down all the way around throughout the facility. It gets the job done. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Warwick Homestead, an efficiency build. Took me a very long time to get this one done. I've been kind of building on this one on and off for many months, actually, but it's finally finished. I'm happy with it, and thank you all so much for watching.